Number 8. Ja'Cavious Smith. In December of 2021, Orlando rapper Ja'Cavious Smith, who performed under the name Glock 9 or 9Lock9, was sentenced to more than 7 years in federal prison after being indicted on federal firearms charges. Earlier, in July, he'd pleaded guilty to possession of an unregistered firearm, using another person's identity, and committing a crime while on pre-trial release. The penultimate charge followed an investigation which revealed that he'd used another name to fraudulently apply for and receive benefits through the Paycheck Protection Act. Smith, who went viral on TikTok with the song 223s, on which he was featured alongside YNW Melly, was also charged with attempted second-degree murder. In July of 2020, he'd opened fire on a house in Orlando, which was also occupied by a woman and her 3 children, reportedly targeting a rival rapper. No one was hurt, and the testimony of a witness who told the authorities Glock 9 wants to be Orlando's only rapper offered detectives some insight into Smith's murderous motivation. Number 7. Ishiwani. Former high school cheerleader Karina Slusser moved to New York City from a small town in rural Pennsylvania in the summer of 2017. Less than 2 months since her arrival in the metropolis, Slusser disappeared without a trace from a motel in the Queensboro, where rooms were rented by the hour. It later emerged that the young woman, then aged 19, had been ensnared in a human trafficking ring, offering escort services. Her first handler had been 32-year-old procurer Giovanni Puguero, who allegedly sold Slusser to various buyers with whom she was expected to engage in intimate relations. They stopped working together after an incident in August of 2017, when the young woman reportedly caught Puguero stealing $300 from her purse. Upon confronting him about the theft, she was slammed against a wall and choked. Slusser was granted a temporary restraining order against Puguero before, in early September, she became involved with a new procurer. He was aspiring rapper Ishiwani, a man in his early 20s who'd already been handling another woman when they met. He and Slusser exchanged roughly 800 messages from September the 10th to the 20th, and he'd posted an advertisement online offering a 2-girl special providing photos of Slusser and the other victim. According to court records, Wani and Slusser eventually fell out after one of the rapper's other trafficking victims had grown jealous of their relationship. Slusser was last seen on September the 20th of 2017 when Wani left her at the Haven Motel in Queens in a room paid for by another man. In spite of their previous altercation that had resulted in an assault charge, Slusser sought Puguero's help over social media, telling him that Wani had left her with no money and food. They made plans to meet up, but it's unclear if they ever did, and the teen was never heard from again. The pending assault charges against Puguero were dismissed after Slusser failed to show up for a court hearing, but he adamantly denied having been the last person with her. In November of 2019, in Manhattan Federal Court, Wani was sentenced to 15 years in prison for human trafficking after he'd been arrested by the NYPD following an undercover operation. He denied having passed Slusser off to another procurer and claimed that he had no idea what had become of her or whether she was still alive. Number 6. Cameron Williams. Rapper Cameron Williams, better known by his stage name as C-Blue, got into a scuffle with NYPD officers in the Bronx on January the 18th of 2022. As he was being searched by 27-year-old officer Kasim Pennant, Williams was reported to have accidentally discharged a firearm. After the two had become embroiled in a physical altercation, a single bullet struck and injured Pennant while Williams himself was hit in the groin. Both subsequently recovered, with the rapper then in his late teens being taken to a juvenile detention center after receiving treatment. As reported by a local media outlet, Pennant was subsequently released from the hospital to the cheers of his fellow officers. Just 9 days after he'd been arrested, Williams walked free after posting his $250,000 bail, using money from his record deal advance on his contract with Interscope Records. The union representing NYPD officers was enraged by the judge's decision to grant the young offender bail, particularly since he'd already been on probation for a 2020 gun possession at the time of the shooting. Among those critical of the outcome was also New York City Mayor Eric Adams, who claimed, "It is further proof that our current system is failing us." According to updates on the case from mid-March of 2022, Bronx Supreme Court Justice Naita Sema recommended Williams be tried in family court rather than adult court, as she believed the NYPD had searched the teenage rapper without providing a legitimate reason. Number 5. Heather Morgan. In 2022, multiple media outlets revealed that an aspiring social media influencer and rapper had been officially charged in connection to one of the largest cryptocurrency heists ever reported. 31-year-old Heather Morgan, who performed as Razzle Khan, would often rap about her purported CEO lifestyle in her videos, which amassed hundreds of thousands of views on YouTube alone. The self-dubbed Crocodile of Wall Street performed a brand of hip-hop that was meant to exaggerate and give a somewhat comedic twist to various topics, including social distancing, fashion, and her purported financial prowess. She explained the name of her online rap persona, Razzle Khan, as inspired by Genghis Khan, but with more pizzazz. The case against Morgan originated in 2016 when the cryptocurrency exchange Bitfinex was hacked, resulting in the theft of 119,754 Bitcoin. At the time, it was worth an estimated $71 million, but considering the massive growth that the cryptocurrency subsequently experienced, the theft came to be valued at $4.5 billion. The money was siphoned out in more than 2,000 unauthorized transactions that funneled it into digital wallets, dispersing funds between Morgan and her husband, fellow tech entrepreneur Ilya Dutch Lichtenstein. The authorities were able to trace the money and, in what the DOJ reported as its largest financial seizure ever, recovered 94,000 Bitcoin, estimated at $3.6 billion, from a wallet controlled by Lichtenstein. Over the period of 5 years, the rest of the 25,000 Bitcoin had been transferred out of the wallet through an intricate money laundering process and spent on NFTs, gold, hotels, gaming consoles, Uber rides, and Walmart vouchers, among other items and services. On February 8th of 2022, Morgan was arrested in Manhattan, and if found guilty, she and Lichtenstein face up to 20 years in prison on charges of conspiracy to commit money laundering. As of the latest reports on the matter, Netflix had initiated efforts towards getting the rights to Razzle Khan's story. Number 4. Deshaawn Robertson. In November of 2020, an aspiring rapper from Dallas, Texas, surrendered to the authorities after a warrant had been put out for his arrest in connection to the death of a young man. On October the 25th, Deshaawn Robertson, better known as Lil Loaded, shot 18-year-old Khalil Walker in the Woods neighborhood. Robertson, who'd gone viral a year prior with the gold-certified song Block Baby, was recording a music video at the time. He and Walker, a fellow rapper, were described as best friends, but the latter's sister reported hearing 2 gunshots ring out during filming. She ran outside of the house and found her brother lying on the street with a gunshot wound to his torso, as Robertson and another man were standing over his body. According to the police, a video of the shooting was found on the victim's phone. Robertson drove Walker to a nearby hospital where he was pronounced dead 2 hours later. The rapper fled in the immediate aftermath, but eventually surrendered to the police and maintained that the shooting, allegedly perpetrated with a rifle, had been an accident. In February of 2021, he was indicted on the lesser charge of manslaughter after it was found that malice hadn't been a factor in the shooting. On May the 31st of that same year, leading up to his scheduled court appearance, 20-year-old Robertson posted a heartfelt message to Instagram, asking God for forgiveness. Hours later, the up-and-coming rapper was found dead by his mother after he'd suffered a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Number 3. Jamel Maurice Demons. Shortly after he was charged with double homicide in February of 2019, rapper Jamel Maurice Demons, better known as YNW Melly, enjoyed mainstream success and rose to the top of several charts with his song Murder on My Mind. He'd been charged alongside fellow rapper Cortland Henry for the murders of Anthony Williams and Christopher Thomas Jr. All 4 men were part of the same YNW hip-hop collective, and the authorities reported that Demons and Henry had conspired to kill the other 2 men and stage it to look like they'd fallen victims to a drive-by shooting. The double murder occurred in October of 2018 in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Demons turned himself in on February the 13th of 2019 and announced on Instagram that a lot of rumors and lies were being said regarding the double murder. He and Henry were also reported as suspects in the fatal 2017 shooting of off-duty Indian River County Sheriff's Department Deputy Gary Chambliss in Gifford. Regarding the first-degree murder charges stemming from the deaths of Williams and Thomas, who performed as YNW Sack Chaser and YNW Juvie, Demons pleaded not guilty, and his trial date was scheduled for May the 23rd of 2022. The 22-year-old's lawyers were concerned that lyrics from Murder on My Mind, one of which read, "I'm a murderer, yes, yes," might be used against him in court. While rumors arose in the aftermath that the song was a confession to the double homicide, with the controversy adding to its mainstream draw, it had actually been released a year prior to the shooting. Number 2. Fontrell Antonio Baines. 31-year-old rapper Nuke Bizzle, whose real name is Fontrell Antonio Baines, was ordered to stand trial on December the 29th of 2020 in downtown Los Angeles after being charged with access device fraud, aggravated identity theft, and interstate transportation of stolen property. Through his music and social media accounts, Baines openly bragged about getting rich by fraudulently obtaining jobless benefits under the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act. Baines exploited the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance provision of the Act, designed to expand access to unemployment benefits to self-employed workers, independent contractors, and others who would not otherwise be eligible. He uploaded a video to YouTube which has been viewed over 350,000 times, entitled EDD, which is short for the Employment Development Department, the department that administered the benefits. In the shocking video, Baines basically gave up his entire illegal operation, and while holding up several envelopes from the EDD, rapped that he was getting rich by going to the bank with a stack of these, likely in reference to the debit cards that came in the mail from the department. Another man featured on the song further expanded on the delusional ingenuity of their money-making scheme by rapping, "You gotta sell cocaine, I just file a claim." Baines also bragged about defrauding the EDD on his Instagram. An investigation discovered at least 92 EDD debit cards preloaded with over $1.2 million in fraudulent obtained benefits mailed to addresses in Beverly Hills and Koreatown to which Baines had access. He and others involved in the operation had spent over $700,000 in cash from the cards. The rapper pleaded not guilty to the felony charges leveled against him, for which he faced a maximum sentence of 22 years in federal prison. Number 1. Quamaine Wilson. In September of 2012, rapper Young QC, whose real name is Quamaine Wilson, was at the funeral of his mother, Yolanda Holmes. Others in attendance remember that Wilson, an only child, seemed distant and unaffected by his mother's passing. 45-year-old Holmes, who owned the Nappy Head Salon in uptown Chicago, had been fatally stabbed and shot at her home in the 1000 block of West Montrose Avenue. While the incident, which occurred on September the 2nd, was initially investigated as a robbery gone wrong, it soon emerged that Wilson had hired a hitman to kill his mother. The reason, as reported by the authorities, had been financial gain and a desire for fame. As claimed by friends of the victim, Holmes would always financially help her son, spoiling him with expensive clothes and a Camaro, but he reportedly wanted more. Within a week of the woman's death, Wilson liquidated her bank accounts, which totaled over $90,000, and he was also the beneficiary of her 2 life insurance policies. The wannabe rapper used the money to fund and flaunt a lavish lifestyle across Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. His displays of wealth included him being in expensive cars, wearing designer clothing, or holding up massive stacks of cash. In one clip, he was seen giving back to his fans by launching $100 bills in the air to a frantic gathering. The authorities soon identified him as the mastermind of Holmes' murder, and he was arrested. Wilson was ultimately sentenced to 99 years in prison, just 1 year less than the sentence handed down to Eugene Spencer, the assassin he'd hired and whom he'd told in a phone conversation to make sure his mother was dead. Thanks for watching. Would you rather only speak in rhyme for a month or take a vow of silence for a year? Let us know in the comments section below.